Hey there. So today, just testing out a new intro theme thing. I may rework that. Just reworking my logo and stuff. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you some of the updates and changes to the RGP tools. There has been several changes made to it. And what I'm going to show off today is the character editor. So without any further ado, I'm just going to switch over here to the screen capture mode. And we are in one of the levels I've been working on here. I haven't updated these graphics with my newer graphics yet. I'll probably do that. They're on my other computer. So I'm just running on some of the old ones where I got them a little messed up. Not important for this demo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by coming over here and I'm going to be opening the character editor. So we're opening up the character editor and there she is. And now the interface is quite clean here now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a new character. So I've got this one open. I'm going to close it. And now we've got a new file, new character. Okay, so unsaved document. We'll close that one off. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start with, we'll start with this base. RTP female base, and we're previewing it in portrait mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that from in the animation, and instead of being in idle, I'm just going to switch over to something where we can design a character here. So I'm just going to go to, I don't know, there, thoughtful one. There we go, and I'm going to dial this down. 25% is fine. Move it over to here. Actually, I'll go to 50% for the intents and purposes here. And I'll just scroll over at the bottom. It's nice, these scroll bars, they've been widened a little bit, it seems like. They're a little easier to grab with the mouse now. So that's kind of nice. I'm going to close down the animations here. And what I'm going to do is widen this just a little bit so that we could see all of our base models a little bit better. So now what you can see is if you're familiar with it before, and if you're not familiar with it before, then don't worry about this, but this layers is new. So basically you got your models and he's added this color thing to it, which I'm going to demonstrate here, and then we've got layers. So in layers we can add extra layers. So I'm going to add another layer, and then I'm going to be able to select that layer. You can adjust your render order here. It's the only one I've got right now. But I'm going to come back here to layer now, and I'm going to select my model. So what I want to do is check this include shadows box, and then as my first layer I want to include shadows for this. And if I scroll down, I'm eventually going to find it, unless I've passed it already, in which case I'll have to scroll back up. Oh, there we go. Shadow, female one. So we're going to turn that on. So now, over here, you can see there's a shadow. So we've got the shadow enabled. Now, you don't need this shadow, especially if you're using a different game engine, which can cast shadows or do whatever. However, I'm using the shadows in my game, so I'm going to keep that included. Now I'm going to come back over here to layers again, and I'm going to add another layer. Now in this other layer, I'm going to select it, and it's always important to select the layer you want to work with to set the model up, because you can quite easily change out your model if you select the wrong layer. So I'm going to come over here to this layer now, and now what I want to do is I want to just throw some pants on her. Find some pants that look pretty decent, I think. Let's go. It'll be alphabetical here. Let's find something easy. What's that one look like? Yeah, it's a bit jeansy. Alright, I'm going to go for these. Those look decent. Boots and bottoms. Okay, so now what we can do is I can come back over here to colors, and I'm on that layer, and what I want to do is I want to adjust the color. So I want those just to be a little more bluish. Not that blue though. Actually, I'm going to go a little more reddish maybe. Orange. Yeah, orange will be fine. Orange will be fine. Let's bring it down just a bit more. There, that'll work. We'll go with those colors. That's fine. But then I also want to adjust the back to the base layer again. No slot 0 layer model. I want to go back to the main layer, and then I want to come to colors, and then I want to change this because I want to make her gold. It's a bit orangey. Let's go a little more yellowy. That'll work as a base, I think. Now I want to go adjust the HSV. So what the HSV lets you do is it lets you adjust the saturation levels and the brightness levels as well, rather than just pick the color. So I've assigned the color I want, but now what I want to do is I'm going to turn up the saturation here, and I'm going to turn up the brightness. And you can just keep cranking as much as you want. So there, I've added a bunch of gold. I've made a very, very goldeny skinned here. And you can adjust, so I got the I got that all the way up to 2. And I'm going to just adjust this, which is more like the tint. So like on a television set, you can adjust the color and you can adjust the tint. So this will adjust the tint a bit. So yeah, that turns her a little more of an orangey. And this will make her more golden. Down 1, I think. I think right about there. I'm pretty happy with that. So there. I have her saved. So now I'm going to go File, Save. And then we need to name her. And I'm just going to call her golden underscore girl. There we go. Save. But I think I also want to give her some hair. So what I'm going to do is come back into layers, and I'm going to come into layers here, and I'm going to add one more layer. And then in that layer, I am going to come back, select it, come back over to the layer, go to models, and I'm just going to find some hair that'll work. Let's try. Let's move that over. And not a fan of that one. That one's okay. I think I'm going to stick with that one. Let me just try this one here. No, we're going to stick with that one, I think. That's the one that I want. There's a few others in here that look okay, but that's the one I want. She's got a bun, she's got some braids. So now I want to adjust that hair color. And because this particular game I'm working on is a bit of a Asian game, I am going to take this color, and I want this golden lady to have a little bit of a bluish purple hair here. A little bit more down on the purple side. Sure, well, that looks pretty good. And then we're going to save her again. Okay, now I'll go back into the level editor. And what I'm going to do is I am going to go away from background to objects. Then under objects, I'm going to choose add unit mode, which I'm already on. But just in case you're unaware, it's usually by default on add objects. So I'm going to go to add units. And what you'll see here is that she's not in this list. See, not in the list. So what you need to do is you need to go into the data editor. And this is how you set up your new characters. So what I'll do is I'll come into here and I'll go to character classes. There I've got Knight, Archer, Samurai, Golden Bot. I'm going to go plus, and then I'm going to go select that dot. You have to click on the dot. Now I'm going to name this one Golden Mystic. And then up here, Golden Girl. All right. Golden Mystics are full of knowledge and help you in the game. Period. Okay. And she's neither a player nor an enemy, so she's set as none, and I'm going to leave her as none. Characters. Plus, and now we'll come down here and we will select Golden Girl from the bottom. They always appear at the bottom, it seems like, so until they're in use, and then they become alphabetical later. So Golden Girl, excellent. Initial stats, I need to give her just some stats. Movement speed 10 and strength 10, and I don't think I need anything else. Light speed 100, sight range 25. Yeah, 100. Perfect. File, save. So now we've added to the database. So now we'll come back to the level editor, and we should be able to scroll down and find her. Oh, character. Sorry, not unit. You have to click on character. There she is, Golden Girl. And I'll place her in the game. I could place a couple if I wanted, but I'm just going to place one. File, save. Now we'll play the game. Okay, zoomed in there. And we're going to run over here across my assets that I set up. And there she is. Now you can set up a conversation or do whatever you need. And she's just idle mode. We haven't adjusted her or done anything with her yet. But what we can do is we can select her. Come over here to properties now. And we could set up stats, attach a dialogue, add an animation. We could do whatever type we want, right? Could also, under is it female base 1? Something's different. Hold on a sec. I'm not sure why. Oh, because it's character. Golden Girl. That's why. Again, you need to be on character. Otherwise, it just wants to choose something that I don't even have on the map. So we're on character. And now what I want to do is we can say what direction we want her facing. Choose an animation. But what I want to do is I just want to go into here, into, where is my engine? And I just want to set up her behavior here. I'm not going to set up an interaction. Don't want to hide in front of character. Game logic is where I want to be, actually, not engine. And under game logic, I am going to not change the faction. You can change it there. She's fidgeting. I could change the movement. I want to do, oh, here we go. Behavior. I just want her to wander. There we go. File. No, file. Save. Now we'll play that again. And there she is wandering around on the map, but we'll walk over to, so you can get a better view of her here. And there she is with her golden skin wandering around the map. Okay, so that's the first part. That's how you make a character for the RGPTools engine. Now the second part of this is we're going to go back in to the character editor. Oh, actually I'm just going to save. I think I already saved, but I'm just going to save. So we're going to go back in here to the character editor now. Alright, and so now if you're using Godot or Yami Game Maker or anything Game Maker that uses 2D and you want the 2D sprites used and you want to export them in a certain way and not use the default PV games or EVG or some my assets or some of the other people's assets that are out there, and if you want to create your own character sprites from them, this is how you do it. And now I've mostly only done this with the PV game sprites, which is what we currently have on screen, so I'm going to demonstrate that here for you because that's something that this tool was originally created for and what I originally got it for, but with all the work that Martin's put into it, I'm now using it as a standalone game engine. But it was originally designed to make game assets out of other assets and things. So you come up here to Tools and you click on Export. And what that does is that brings up this screen here. So now in this screen, you could choose what to export to and the path and location, right? So where I'm going to export to is just C, users, Paul, pictures, and then PNG temps. So I'm just going to go into this PNG temps folder. And we're going to call this Mystic 1 is all we're going to call these. All right. Now you can remove shadow, alpha threshold. So what that lets you do is on the shadow, you can actually make it more transparent or less transparent for use in your games, depending on what style you're going after. So it gives you a lot of flexibility there. I'm not going to mess with that. That's a kind of figure it out for yourself thing. But what I am going to do is you've got frames, sprite sheet, or custom sheets. So I'm going to go into custom sheets just to show you how that exports, right? So under custom sheets, what I'm going to do is you could choose to export equipment separately, but I'm going to leave it all as one because it's just easy for a lot of game engines like our RGP Maker. The RGP Maker MV, MK, a bunch of those. They've got a certain format to export the sprites into, and you might want to export the equipment separately for those. That being said, so here's where you set up how many animations you want in a row. So basically, if you don't know, a row is across, columns are up and down. So what this will do is this will set up basically how many frames or how many animations are in each row. I'm going to leave this as 1, and then directions per row. So this is how many directions. So up, down, or north, south, east, west, however you want to do it. I'm just going to do 1 per row, and I want 1 animation per row and 1 direction per row. That's all I want to do here. And we're just going to do the default of the walking, and we're going to do the default of the unarmed attack. So we're just going to generate these 2. And then what it's going to do is it's going to figure out how many, it's going to automatically generate those for you. Now, if you do frames, I believe you can export independent frames. I haven't really played around too much with that because I haven't had the need to do it. Here you can add the directions that you want or remove the directions, right? So you can do 8-way direction. I'm only doing 4-way as this demo, so, but you can add more if you want to. All I would do here is go add, and then there's southwest, right? So, but I don't want to add that, so I'm just going to delete it. All right, so now all you do is you hit export and you let it work. All right, so now what it's done is it's exported. And if I pull this over here, this is the folder it's exported into. And there's the sprite sheet with those animations in there. So we've got 2 animations, 4 directions. If I open that up, zoom in a bit here, you can see we've got the walking animations. So we're walking south, we're walking west, we're walking east, and then we're walking north, and then we're doing the unarmed attack animation here in those directions as well. So let's put all that into one sprite sheet. Now for some game engines, you can put them all in one sprite sheet however you want. In others, you want to do one sprite sheet for movement, one sprite sheet for unarmed attack, one sprite sheet for armed attack, one sprite sheet for dying. It all depends on how you're setting it up. So this one is, I would have exported this one for use in Godot. So then I can just go into Godot and pick my frames and create each direction, and away we go. Other game engines like RGP makers and the Intersect Memorg engine, you would want these as separate sheets and things like that. So basically, that's all I wanted to show you today. I just wanted to go over this and give you a great idea of the changes and how the layers works and how you can also export your own for other game engines. So on that note, I'm going to leave you. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.